Is the Supreme Court going to be one that follows the rule of law, or one that is influenced by the governor and the leaders of the General Assembly? The Democrat Party already controls the General Assembly, the governor's office, and actually has controlled the Illinois Supreme Court for the last 58 years. Each branch of government is supposed to be a check on the other. The Supreme Court is supposed to be a check on the General Assembly and on the governor. Gerrymandering, you've heard about it all over the country. Well, it is really live and doing well in Illinois. The legislative districts are drawn for one reason, and that's to keep people in power. People of Illinois have been begging for redistricting, fair maps for decades. But in 2016, over 500,000 Illinois voters signed petitions to have a referendum on the ballot for fair maps. Actually, 25 organizations joined in that effort. Very diverse organizations: the League of Women Voters, the Farm Bureau, the Union League Club, and the NAACP, the Better Government Association, and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And the reason for that support is because everybody recognizes this system is skewed. And guess what happened to that effort? A guy by the name of John Hooker came along, and he filed a lawsuit seeking to have that referendum thrown out. And if that name sounds familiar, John Hooker, it's because it is. Because he was a friend of Mike Madigoons, and he's the Commonwealth Edison lobbyist who was indicted with Mike Madigan on federal corruption charges. That's John Hooker. So the case goes to hearing right here in this courthouse. And it goes before a judge who strikes it down. And then it gets appealed to the Illinois Supreme Court. And one of the lawyers on that appeal, just a simple point of trivia, was Lori Lightfoot, when she was in private practice, before she was mayor of Chicago. So it goes before the Illinois Supreme Court. The Supreme Court rules 4-3, 4 Democrats against 3 Republicans, strikes it down. So the result of that is no referendum, no change in gerrymandering, safe districts for every Democrat in the state of Illinois. Now, whoever is elected to the Supreme Court in this election has the opportunity to rule on probably that very issue, because 6 of the 7 justices who ruled on that issue in 2016 are gone as of this December. So we may get another chance to have fair legislative maps drawn. And just a side note, we all know that Justice Mary Kay O'Brien was formerly a member of the General Assembly, and when she was a state representative, she actually voted in favor of Mike Madigan's gerrymandered legislative maps. That was her vote. And of course she did it because it created a favorable district for her. And if you go back to 2001, the Bloomington Daily Pantograph wrote an article about this new map of Mary Kay O'Brien's and how just a little sliver of Livingston County moved into her district. It had previously been in another district, and it's where her sister lived. And then after that vote on the gerrymandered maps, there's a vacancy on the 3rd District Appellate Court. And guess who gets appointed to that vacancy? Mary Kay O'Brien. Thank you, Mike Madigan. Thank you, Mike Madigan. I'm sure that's what she said. So when the legislative map question comes up again before this next Illinois Supreme Court, who do you want to rule on it? Do you want Mike Burke to rule on it, who is committed to the rule of law, who owes nobody nothing? He's not beholden to anybody? Or do you want Mary Kay O'Brien, whose career she really owes to Mike Madigan, who has benefited from this unprecedented campaign spending by Governor Pritzker and the Speaker of the House and the Senate President? In the 2nd District, do you want Mark Curran, a veteran law enforcement officer, a veteran prosecutor who calls him as he sees him? Or do you want Elizabeth Rochford, who has made campaign contributions, now just get this, campaign contributions to Alderman Ed Burke, not only before he was indicted, but even after he's indicted. She makes campaign contributions to Ed Burke after he's indicted for federal corruption. That is remarkable loyalty. The rule of law is on the ballot this year. Good government is on the ballot this year. And every voter needs to keep that in mind.